Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Tech Gamers World. In this video, we're going to be unboxing and reviewing the wireless Lumos RGB controller from DOYOKY. Now I'm super excited to check this out, and thank you to them for sending this to me, as I happen to be in the market for a new controller for my Nintendo Switch. So everybody's familiar with the Nintendo Switch. They have two standard Joy-Cons. One of the problems with the Nintendo Switch has been the quality of their Joy-Con builds. They are prone to breaking and something called Joy-Con drift, basically where the Joy-Cons register movement even when you're not touching them, which has been a problem for gamers since basically the Nintendo Switch came out, and unfortunately Nintendo never really took action to fix it other than to just replace the Joy-Cons. So we'll talk a little bit about why that occurs as we dig into this. So let's get this unboxed here and opened up. And before we do that, if you could click that like button and subscribe to Tech Gamers World, we're always going to have new and exciting content from the world of video games and technology dropping all the time, and I would love for you to be a part of our family. So let's get to it. So this is the wireless RGB controller from DOYOKY with Hall effect joysticks. So taking a look at the box here, it is a very sleek looking box with a black background highlighting the features of the controller. So it has wireless mode, play the game together, share happiness, and bridge the distance. Install on the frame, enjoy gaming at any time with an immersive gameplay experience. Attached to the console, so it can be installed on both sides of the console, which allows for gameplay at any time. So basically, this controller follows the standard of all the others. It can either be held separately, installed on a frame, or attached to the console, which is the standard for most handheld controllers in the Nintendo Switch family. Looking at the back here, we have some more information about this controller, the programmable function. Press and hold the M button while inputting the edit button. Once you release the M button, the controller will vibrate. The back button functionality is now configured. So product information here. Wireless RGB controller with Hall effect joysticks. Product model is YS47. Endurance is 6.5 hours on a full charge. Total weight 197 grams. Charging time 3 hours. Working voltage 3.7 volts to 4.2 volts, depending on how heavy you're using it. And there is a website here and the customer service email and some information about where and who makes the device. On this side here, just some more information and advertisements about the controller. It has a 6-axis gyro, dual vibration, wireless connection, turbo function, mapping, and lighting mode. So that's pretty cool. This is pretty sleek looking. I love minimalistic stuff. So I like the black background on it with the blue lighting, which I'm assuming you can change. So let's go ahead here and open this up. So here we are. We'll go ahead and put this box to the side here. So this is the wireless Lumos RGB controller from DOYOKY. Comes in your standard plastic packaging here. Let's go ahead and take this off. See what's underneath here before we get to the good stuff. So we have a charging cable, which is a USB-A to USB-C charging cable, and you'll know the differences by USB-A is bigger, USB-C is smaller, and it's more concave than its older predecessor, USB-A. So you'll need a USB-A port or a adapter to plug into, and then you plug this into the controllers. So we'll get to that in a second here. Put that off to the side. Here is the operating instructions, and we'll get to that too. And then here is the adapter to hold the controllers so that you have it more of a handheld, singular handheld. It is your basic adapter. This is all plastic. Actually, there are no metal on this one at all. And we have the typical lights that shine through. So the light shines through and they light up to tell you what player you are. So player 1, 2, 3, or 4. And that shows that it is connected. There is no charging port on this, so this cannot be used to charge the controllers simultaneously. So okay, let's go ahead and put that off to the side here. And here is the actual controller. So these are very lightweight. Fits nicely in the palm of my hand here. Very lightweight. I'm impressed with how light it is. Here we've got the standard connector for the Nintendo Switch. Also looks to be a heavy grade plastic. Yep, it is. All the buttons are plastic. There is a quality control thing on the bottom here. We'll take that off. Here you can see the USB-C charging port right there. So the typical buttons on the top, charging port on the bottom. So you can charge these devices one of two ways. One with the included USB-A to USB-C cable, or two by charging them through the Nintendo Switch. Here is the right hand one. So as you can see, it follows the typical Nintendo Switch Joy-Con design, with the exception of the turbo button that these controllers have. Both sides have a turbo button. So this side obviously has the capture snapshot and the select, start, and the home button and the turbo button. So it's your typical thing here. So let's go ahead and put this off to the side here. We'll go ahead and move this over. So let's talk a little bit about what makes these kind of controllers different from the standard Nintendo Switch OEM Joy-Cons here. So you can see here, look at the size difference between the two. The Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons, while they are great in their minimalistic design, they are very small. So if you have to basically hold them like this, which is tiring when you do it for a very long time if you're using them in single mode. So holding them for a while gets really tiring. If you've ever played Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, where you have to hold the controllers like this to do certain things, it does get wears on your joints after a while. I like these kind of designs because they better fit. Keeps your hand just more in a natural position versus crunched up like this, because you're resting your back fingers back here. So they're ergonomically designed to rest your back fingers. And then if you program the ML button here, you've got it, which is nice. So these obviously don't have that. That's a third-party aftermarket thing that's developed over the years. So the same thing with this side. So you can see you've got that nice ergonomic feel, and I'll show you here the differences. So you see how my hands are with this one, and look how they are with this one. So you can see why these have their benefits, because they're more naturally laid out for your hands, especially like me. If you've got bigger hands, it's a super nice thing to have. So let's talk a little bit about the joysticks here. So the stick, they say that what Hall effect. So what is Hall effect? Hall effect has actually been around for a very long time. You see it all the time and just don't ever know it. If you ever use a cranes, any kind of mechanical equipment that has multi-axis joysticks, they use what's called Hall effect. So Hall effect is a contactless way to register movement on a single axis or multi-axis joystick. The Nintendo Switch joysticks use what's called like it's a mechanical thing. It's like a pedometer, accelerometer. It knows when you move it by its contact. So when you move this forward, there's little things around it that touch things, and that registers the movement. That's what's causing the problems with the Joy-Con drift. These things are getting dirt and debris and other stuff stuck in them or mechanical failures, which is then registering movement. So if you've ever seen, say you're playing a game where you're in a third party mode or a single mode, single view, POV view, and you see it moving, it's because what's happening is the joystick is thinking it's like this or like this when it's really not. So it's registering movement. So what companies have done is they've started incorporating Hall effect technology into their joysticks. Now again, you see this on cranes, airplanes, fly-by-wire stuff like that. Basically what it does is instead of using contacts to register movement, this is a contactless design. It uses different electrical signals and magnetic fields to track the movement of the controller, of the joystick. So you don't have to have it touch anything to register movement. Now you'll get a more fluid-like feel out of some of them depending on how they're designed. Now to me, this and this feel almost the same, to be honest. They have that, same range of movement. This one feels a little easier to move, but at the same time, its range moves a little more because it is just bigger than the Joy-Con one. You can see the size difference. So this one doesn't move as far. This one moves further, but it's going to give you that same range of motion in your Nintendo Switch games than it is using this one. You're not going to get a different range of view or motion. You're going to get that same thing. It's just how efficiently it does it with these by using electrical signals versus contacts. So hopefully these help with the Joy-Con drift that plagues a lot of devices. And now let's be fair to Nintendo. The Joy-Con drift is not locked to a Nintendo thing. It also exists with the Microsoft Xbox controllers, the Sony PlayStation controllers. I fixed and repaired multiple different kinds of devices, flight sticks, stuff like that that suffer from stick drift. So it's not just a Nintendo thing, being fair to Nintendo. But I love the third-party aftermarket controllers for the Hall effect joysticks alone and the coolness of them. So let's see if these turn on. So they do actually. These have a charge to them. So as you can see, we are in red now for the color, and you can see they're not going to stay turned on because they're not connected to a switch. But you can see the nice RGB lighting all the way around the sides of both. So that's pretty cool. So let's go ahead here and check out the operating instructions and see how big this is here. These things are always fun to open. So they show it in two different languages here, 3 or 4 different languages: English, Chinese, it looks like German, and Japanese maybe. So I'm going to stick with the English side because that's, to be honest, all I can read. So we've got your typical buttons: A, B, Y, X, the plus, the minus, the left stick, the right stick, the D-pad, the turbo, the screenshot, the home, and the turbo, like I said. On the back is the M for memory, the vibration key, MR, ML, M, and vibration key on both. And on the side here is the typical Nintendo style stuff. So you've got the pairing keys for when you're pairing them to a Switch, the Type-C USB port on the bottom, and the slide rails that lock in. So connection mode: insert the slide rail into the console for usage and retract the slide rail to automatically establish a Bluetooth connection with the console. To pair the controller, press and hold the pairing button for 3 seconds while the power is off. Press the home button to reconnect. So for turbo functions here, lots of information about the turbo functions. You can have different turbo speeds. So continuous firing at 5 times per second, continuous firing at 12 times per second, continuous firing at 20 times per second, and continuous adjustment method. Press the turbo button and upward stick to increase the speed. So lighting instructions: T plus R3 L3. So press down, single click, slide light, and face light single constant mode. So T plus R3, L3. So we'll have to check those out there. So looking at this, so the turbo button's there. So let's see if we can get the lights to change. So let's try it on this one here. There we go. So to change the lights, you use the turbo button at R3, which if you're not familiar with R3, it's basically pushing down on the stick. So we've got blue, there's blue, red, green, more green, purple, orange, light blue, blue. I'm gonna stick with two different colors here. Let's go with my favorite, neon green on this side. And for this side, we'll do we'll go with something here nice and bright blue. So we've got blue and green. That's pretty cool. Now let's try out the vibration function here. So these devices have different vibration functions and different thresholds that what they vibrate at. They vibrate in different, strengths, so you can feel it if you like that effect. I do. I like it when you're playing a game. That feedback, helps keep you in the game. And there's different, you press the button here to get different strengths. So it's, it's hard to see it, but I can really feel the difference in it. You can hear it. It definitely, so there's basically 4 settings: 25, 50, 75%, 100%, and then off is the typical stuff for those settings. You can adjust the strength. So the independent motor vibration, actually this one has 3 levels: 50%, 75%, and off. So this one only has 3 levels, which is fine. I usually leave it at the highest level. It's defaulted at 50%. After successful adjustment, the motor will vibrate for half a second at the selected level. When the device is turned off and powered on again, it will remember the last adjusted level. The motor vibration strength will cycle through the levels sequentially. Both left and right controls can individually be adjusted. So that's cool. So let's go ahead here and get the controllers connected up to the Nintendo Switch. And we'll check it out how it fits. So we're going to go ahead here and just do your typical slide them on. Now, keep in mind, when you use these kind of controllers, it will make some modifications to your Nintendo Switch design. Obviously, the Nintendo Switch is now going to be wider, not the Switch itself. The whole thing will be wider. So as you can see, the difference. So if you have a Nintendo Switch case, like I do, I'll show you here what I got. The Nintendo Switch will not fit in the case with these controllers on. You'd have to take them off and store them separately, as opposed to the Nintendo Switch will fit in this case with the Joy-Cons on, the OEM Joy-Cons. So that's always something to keep in mind. They do make carry cases for aftermarket controllers, depending on the vendor. So let's go ahead here and see how these work. So they are paired here. The one is, and the other is paired too. So as you can see, both are working. And then if we go to controllers, we'll go to change grip order. Let's see if we can get them just jump through that here. They come off nice and smooth. So let's go ahead and here and see if we can get them Bluetooth connected. There's one, there's two. There we go. So they are now Bluetooth connected. Let me stand this switch up here. So as you can see, they are now Bluetooth connected. So connecting devices to the Nintendo Switch is super easy with the Bluetooth. So when they're connected to your Nintendo Switch, they'll stay on. When they're not, they'll turn off to save battery. So let's try the sliding the bracket here. So nice fit. Things you look for when you have a bracket that holds that you're using compared to the OEM Nintendo Switch one is you want to see that they don't flex. This one, as you can see, has minimal flexing, which is good. Sometimes some of the aftermarket joysticks with the controllers, Joy-Cons, will flex. This one has very minimal flexing. That's good because what happens is when you're playing the game, you're naturally going to be instinctively bending at these and eventually wears on the joint in there, and then they move more. But these seem pretty solid. Um, Nicely assembled. This looks like it's got some, this here is in nice and tight. That's something you do have to look for with third-party controllers because sometimes the quality is different than Nintendo's. But these ones look pretty good. I'm definitely liking this a lot here. It's a very nice fit. One thing that always bothers me with these is they don't make a singular charging. So if you're not connected here and you want to play like this, you have to charge both at once, both separately. But you notice they only gave you one cable, so you have to do one at a time. But again, you can just put it on the switch and charge it. But again, if you're going to be using this for a while, my recommendation is always have them fully charged first, because with 6.5 hours of gameplay time, as it's stated, most people are not going to be playing for that long. So battery life should never really be an issue. I don't really ever have that issue with any of my controllers. And I love this design here. Very nice with the colors around the sides. That's pretty cool looking. Nice effect there. So let's try this out here and see if it works. We'll use go into my favorite game here, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So we're sitting on Princess Zelda's horse here, looking around. We can see Hyrule Castle off in the distance there. So the movements are registered right as I do them. Super important. That's what you're looking for. Back up here. Bring it around here. So it looks like there is a Bokoblin camp off in the distance. I'll go check that out. So B. Got some nice, I can feel the vibrations here as I'm running. I know you can't really hear or feel that, but it is there. So if memory serves, there is a Bokoblin camp somewhere around here. Ah, the rock guy. I will run from him. So yeah, these controls are nice and fluid. So I am liking this controller a lot. So let's go into final thoughts here and turn that off. So this controller is very nice. It is very lightweight. Very nice ergonomic design. I love the matte black finish, very minimalistic. The lighting on it, it looks really cool. And I'll see if I can make it a little darker here. Just very nice looking design. Instant connected to the Nintendo Switch, which is what I always like. That's cool. I love the ergonomic feel and the back buttons here. The memory programmable buttons, the turbo buttons, the vibration, the lighting. I love RGB lighting. I think it's the coolest thing. I am definitely excited to use this and check it out, and I will post some more videos as I use it, letting you know how it works. Doyoky was nice enough to give me a discount code for everyone, so I post the link in the description for this video. You can get 10% off any of their products. You should definitely check this out. And again, this is the wireless RGB controller from Doyoky. It is really cool looking, and I'm super excited, and thank you to them for sending this to me. As always, if anyone has any questions or comments, please drop a comment on this video, and I will do my best to get it answered for you. Please click that like button and subscribe to Tech Gamers World. I'm going to have new and exciting content coming soon. Thanks a lot, everybody, and I will see you around. Keep on gaming.